All right, students. So, good afternoon to everybody. And you know that last time we were talking about external factors that influence business activity. So, in A level business book, your textbook, this is chapter number 8, right? So, we have already talked about the first factor, and that was technology, right? We have already talked about technology, its positive impact on the business and the negative impact on the business as well. Okay, then another factor which can influence business activity. Okay, why do we call it external factors? Anybody? Because that is the primary question which I missed out in the previous class and I want to ask. So, Zainab Hamid, can you tell me why I'm using the word external factors? Why not simply factors?
Sir, I
Zainab?
don't know.
Okay, all right. Kamran? Kamran Ismail. Yeah, please go ahead.
Pata.
All right. Um, Abdullah Hassan. Abdullah Hassan. Any idea?
सर ये वो फैक्टर्स हैं जो बिजनेस के बाहर से इफेक्ट करें आउटसाइड फैक्टर्स
Okay, all right. Very good. It's quite simple. External factors which do not exist inside the business. They are outside the business, and especially we call it, they are in the environment. Environment is basically where business operates, and they are not in the control of the business. It simply means business cannot control those factors. Business can just act accordingly. Okay, if there is a change in an external factor, for example, technology improves, and now there is a new technology. Let's say there is a textile mill, and now there is a new technology coming in the market, which textile owners can use in their factories. So now there is a change coming in. So you cannot control, you cannot stop that technology to coming into your region. You cannot. That is why it is an external factor. Okay, what you can do at the maximum, you can adopt that technology, or you can simply decide not to adopt that technology. So both pros and cons are involved in it, and whenever you take a decision, you need to address all the positive and negative aspects of it. So it means external factors are those factors which are beyond the control of the business, and they are outside the business, that is, in the business environment. And business environment is anything where business operates. The market can be an environment, a country can be an environment, a particular area where you operate, and there are other competitors, that can be an environment as well. So we are talking about external factors. Okay, so technology is one of them. The second factor we are going to talk about in this class is government. Again, you understand, government is an external factor. You cannot influence government, you cannot change it. So, how government is going to influence businesses? Because government passes laws, they make laws. So, whenever laws are made, it means they are going to influence business activity either in a positive way or in a negative way. So, now we'll talk about those laws which are made by government, because government is a big external factor for all businesses, right? So let's take those laws one by one. First of all, because I actually drew that whole flow chart for you, so it took some time for me as well to prepare it. But again, I think it will be easier for you to understand that flow chart. Okay, so we are talking about government as an external factor. Okay, first of all, we'll talk about the laws which are normally made by the government to control business activities, because government always make laws. So can you tell me what for the laws are, um, Aniza Hamid? Why generally? What do you think? Why government makes laws? Why government makes laws which can influence business activity? Yeah, Anisa,
For social welfare.
social welfare laws,
Sir, for, for political and social reasons to
political. Okay, political and social reasons. Okay, anybody else who can comment and on that? My okay, I repeat my question. My question is, Anisa, mute your mic, please. Anisa, please mute
okay,
your mic. Okay, now listen. My question is, I am repeating it. I want you to participate. My question is, government makes laws and these laws influence business activities because government wants to control business activities. Why? Why government wants to control business activities and for that purpose they make laws? That is my question. So now I ask that question from Huria. Yes, Huria.
Sir, to ensure rights of citizens.
Okay, all right. One is to ensure rights of citizens. For example, if one business is polluting the environment, so government needs to control it. And one way of controlling that business activity is to pass laws, environmental laws, that you cannot pollute to a great extent because there is a locality nearby you and their health can be affected. Okay, all right. This is one way. Okay, and laws are there to protect businesses as well. Remember, laws may help business to grow. We'll talk about it later, but right now I'm just telling you about the laws. What are they for? Okay, all right. So it means it can support a business activity and it can go against a business activity. So if it goes against a business activity, that means that now business has to do something to limit their activity. And in that way, they may have a negative impact, at least in the short run. They may get benefit from that in the longer run, but in the short run, they will have a negative impact. We are going to discuss that. And similarly, they may have a positive impact right from the beginning as well. And in that way, they might be able to grow in a much better way. Now, let's discuss that, and then you will be absolutely clear about it as well. So, we'll start with employment, contracts, recruitment, and termination. There we go, this one, right? We'll talk about this. So now employment contracts. Okay, just a minute. Let me explain you that there are many external factors. One is technology. We have already covered it. Government. We are going to go through it. Then we have social influences and pressure groups. So we might not be doing it in today's class because it's a lengthy topic. In fact, it's a lengthy chapter as well. So it may take maybe a couple of more classes as well. All right. Now, getting back to government laws. So first of all, if government makes laws for employment contracts, recruitment, and termination. Now, let's talk about it first. Now, employment contracts. Do you know what is it? What is an employment contract? Um, Jahara, can you explain?
Sir, employment contract is basically a agreement which you have with your employee that under that contract, if you would leave or if any under any circumstances company would ask them to leave, what would be the process which would carry on.
All right. Okay, great. Okay, very relevant. Ramin, can you comment?
for the minimum wage rate.
Minimum wage. Okay. All right. All right. Okay. Salman Masood, anything you can add? Salman.
Sir, it shows the terms and condition regarding an employee's job.
All right. So generally, you all are right. Uh, but you are talking about in bits and pieces actually. Employment contract is basically an agreement between an employer and employees or an employee. Employer is the person who hires workers or staff, and employer is the owner of the business. For example, I teach in city school, in one of the school where I teach. So my employer in that case is city school or the owner of the city school. That's it. So my employer is city school. My employer is not the principal or the HM or the SM. No, not at all. So remember, so employer, this is an agreement between an employer and the employee. So yes, I have an agreement with the city school. City school is the employer in that case, and I have signed the agreement. So in that agreement, my duties are written. My salary is mentioned there. For how many months I will be getting salary? How many classes will I take? Which subject will I teach? So everything will be there in detail along with the the rules, policies will be there as far as city school is concerned. And I have to, once I sign it, I have to follow it. The timings, the months, everything will be in detail. Okay, so employment contract is essential. Government has clearly mentioned once an employee will be hired, you have to give an employment contract to the person. Like for example, you are hired by somebody, you can, and if you are not given the employment contract, you can ask simply to your employer, I'm not getting my employment contract. When will I get it? Because this is your legal right given by the government, by the laws. Because labor laws are there. Labor laws means laws which are there to support workers. So in that case, it is again, it gives advantage to the employee. But what about the business? Is there any advantage or a disadvantage to a business as well? Roma, can you comment on it? Employment contract, it is compulsory to be given to every employee, right? Because it's a law. So now, will it have a positive or negative impact on the business? Because this is the thing we are going to we are going to be examined in the paper. They won't ask you about the laws. They will ask you,
Sir,
yeah, please. Yes, Roma.
employment contract होगा तो अगर in future if an employee wants to resign तो वो resign नहीं कर पाएगा क्योंकि उसने contract sign किया हुआ है कि I will work for this मतलब इतने टाइम के लिए या इतने
Yeah,
सालों के लिए तो वो
that's
फिर
right.
resign नहीं कर पाएगा.
Yes, Roma, very good. You are absolutely right. It means it will give a benefit to the business that employees cannot leave. Similarly, employees cannot neglect their duties because it is written in the contract. So a legal action can be taken against employees as well. Because, for example, you tell employees verbally to do something and they do not do it, they can say, "Sir, wo bhul gaya janab." Now, it's a very simple and lame excuse which is there. Once you put it in writing and now it is signed by the employee as well, it becomes a legal document. So now employees cannot simply say, I forgot it. Because you can deduct salary of the employee on that. Hello? Can you hear me, everybody? Yeah, I
Yes,
know
yes,
that
now
there
we
was a,
can.
yeah, yeah. There was an issue, maybe the device was off, so okay, all right. So I was telling you that employment contract is a legal agreement between employee and employer. And employer can get so many benefits. I told you once an employment contract is given, it means now employees get motivated as well. So they start working to their potential because they know that they will get their salary at their right time. Similarly, it will be easier to control workers as well because there's a contract there. If the workers do not perform their duties very well, so you can take a legal action against them as well based on the contract you had with the employee. Yes, Shujat, you have a question?
स्क्रीन ही नजर आ रही.
Okay, just a minute, just a minute. Hold on. सही चल पड़ा है वो डिवाइस? Okay, meanwhile, I'll maybe kept, you can listen to me and I'll just get to it what has happened. Okay, all right. Let me see now.
सर अब
सर
नजर
अब
आ रही
सेट हो गया।
नजर आ
Okay,
रही है सर।
all right. ये पेंट नजर आ रहा है? पेंट?
जी
जी
सर।
सर नजर आ
जी सर।
Okay, all right, good, good, fine. Okay, so it means there are positives of that employment contract, and because government has passed laws to protect employees as well through that legal contract, they protect employers as well. So how employee, now how it would be a disadvantage for the employer? Can anybody tell me? Anusha Azhar, can you explain me how it can bring a disadvantage to the employer? I'm talking about employment contract. Anusha Azhar, maybe still she is having. Yes, please.
Can I?
Yeah,
Sir, it
Jahara,
would be a
please.
sir, it would be a disadvantage to an employer, as when you cannot immediately fire the employee. Then if if the company is under the circumstances where you have to save money or invest, you cannot invest more money, you cannot immediately fire. You have to give them 1 month payment, then you have to give them the contract, and then it is a long process of firing and everything under the legal circumstances of the employment agreement.
Okay, very good, Jahara. Great. So it means that once sometimes you decide to reduce your workforce because there's a contract, you cannot ask the workers to leave all of a sudden. You may have
Yes.
to give them maybe a 1 month notice or a 2 months notice, depending on what kind of contract you had with the employees. Secondly, you have to give a solid reason for that, and sometimes
Yes.
you have to give a redundancy payment as well. Redundancy payment is a compensation package. Once you ask the worker to leave, and that is not because of the fault of the worker, you have to give them a certain amount to the employee, so that meanwhile they can find another job, so they'll get that money. And it can range from, for example, if I talk about Pakistan, from 5 lakh 6 lakh rupees to 80 lakh 90 lakh rupees, depending on how much experience the employee has with the business. So that is why it can be costly as well, it can be time consuming as well. And then, for example, there is a worker who does not work well, so now there is a long procedure according to the employment contract. So you cannot hire a new worker unless and until you have a full inquiry of that. Otherwise, what will happen, without an inquiry, if you ask the worker to leave just by blaming the worker, कि भैया आप तो काम नहीं सही कर रहे, that worker can go to labor court. It's there in Pakistan as well. And a case can be filed against that employer as well. So how could you do that without having a fair inquiry? So that is why, so in that way, obviously the process will linger on, and obviously it will have an effect on the production level. The deadline you are required to meet as far as your customers are concerned, there will be a problem there. Okay, all right. Now let's move on. We have talked about it in detail. Then we have recruitment. Recruitment, again, you know about it. That recruitment, again, you did study that in AS level as well. So Sabah, what is recruitment?
Sir, the
Sabah Rashid.
hiring of
Okay, recruitment is hiring of workers. Okay, it's fine, but recruitment is a long process. It's not only about hiring. It's about actually finding a vacancy first, if there is any vacant post, and then identifying what are the requirements of that post, and then giving an advertisement in the newspaper, and then finally shortlisting those candidates who will apply for that, and then finally you will hire the worker, and then training will be given, and then vacancy will be filled. So this is a long process of recruitment. So it means at the end of the recruitment process, employee is selected, right? So it's not simply hiring, that you ask a worker and then you will hire it. Recruitment is a long process. So again, when recruitment is there, so you cannot hire a worker just on the basis of its his or her caste, color, or creed. Then maybe because the person is your is relative or closer to you or your friend, you cannot hire that person simply, even if you have a private company, because in that case, if you have advertised in a newspaper, then all the candidates must be given equal opportunity of being selected. So if you are not doing it, again, a case can be filed against that company as well, that maybe the recruitment process was not fair. It can happen in a government organization as well. You know that nepotism is very common there. Do you know what is nepotism? Munir, Mohammed Munir, what is nepotism? Do you know about it? Let me write it there. I'll write. Okay, maybe I think. Uh, all right. Yes,
सर
Munir,
वो
Mohammed.
जो फैमिली बिजनेस में होता है,
फैमिली बिजनेस में क्या होता है? What happens?
सर वो अपने किसी भी रिलेटिव को या अपने किसी भी फैमिली मेंबर को पावर टू पावर दे देते हैं पोजीशंस.
Okay, all right, all right. Yeah, very good. It means that you actually uh, unfairly treat other employees, because one of your employee you hired is your relative, so you actually make the process easier for that employee. Maybe employee is not tested in the same manner other employees are tested. So this is unfair again. So again, laws are there to protect it. Then termination. Again, you cannot simply ask the worker to leave just because I told you earlier, unless and until there is a very strong allegation about that employee, and there is a solid proof about it as well. Okay, and the employee must be given ample opportunity to speak, and for that a show cause notice can be given to the employee as well. If employee does not come up, then it's fine. You can simply terminate the employee. That is a legal way to fire a worker. Otherwise, you have to listen to the employee as well. Even if you know that the employee is involved in some kind of corruption, or maybe some kind of crime or something else, or theft, still hearing is done. That is why termination is also legally protected. So again, so it's there. Now it means that the company has to work in a certain way. There are boundaries there. You cannot simply hire a person, and the person can start working in your organization. So there is a long process. If the process is long, it will be time taking. If it is time taking, it will affect your production process, obviously, and it will be costly as well. Termination in the same way, because a legal inquiry will be uh, taken against that person, and again it requires time and cost as well. So obviously business does not want to have it. They want their business to continue in the same manner. So if at the same time they are actually going to court as well, or hiring a lawyer, so obviously their attention will be diverted towards that particular case, and they might neglect their main focus, that is their production. So that is why they normally want to avoid it, but if the laws are there, they have to follow it. Now, what there are various other things as well. If you see it, minimum wage, minimum working age. Talal, what is it? There is a law there that there has to be a minimum working age. What does it mean, and why it is there?
सर ये
Talal
इसलिए
Mughal.
ताकि ज्यादातर जो लोग हैं वो अपनी एजुकेशन कंप्लीट कर सकें, मे बी इसलिए, और
All
मिनिमम
right.
आई गेस 18 इयर्स होता है ताकि इससे पहले
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
एम्प्लॉयमेंट.
That- so that child labor should not be there, because child labor is illegal in many countries. Even in Pakistan, it is not legal, but still it is practiced. And you know that most of the people, they do not go to courts very often, so it is being practiced, unfortunately. So yes, minimum working age is there. So if it means that you cannot hire a person below 18 years of age, so you cannot give them a low salary. So if you hire an adult, so obviously that adult will demand a regular salary which is there in the market. So it will be costly for the business as well because of that law. But this is a negative impact, but there is a positive impact as well. Do you know what is a positive impact? Shahir, Amir, what would be a positive impact? Yes, Shahir.
Sir, for the business,
Yeah. Is there any positive impact of that if there is a law there and the business is following that law of minimum working age?
sir, I think extended set हो जाएगा age का.
And okay,
सर
all right.
सोशल
But
इमेज बेहतर होगी ब्रांड की.
okay, very good. Yashva, your comment? Yashva Noor? Hello?
यस सर. सर अगर यंग पीपल काम मतलब यंग एज के लोग काम करेंगे तो वो अपनी मिनिमम वेजेस से स्टार्ट करेंगे, तो फिर इस तरह जिस तरह वो अपनी एबिलिटीज पर होगा तो
No,
उस तरह
listen,
आगे
listen,
जाके.
listen. Yashva, hold on. It's not about minimum wage. It's about minimum working age.
तो सर जब यंग एज वाले होंगे उन्हें
Yes, just carry on.
उन्हें वर्क एक्सपीरियंस मिलेगा ना, तो शायद इसलिए क्योंकि न्यू आइडियाज आएंगे क्योंकि यंग एज के पीपल के पास ज्यादा टैलेंट
Okay,
होता है.
all right. Maybe you did not understand my question actually. Although you were explaining it all right, what you thought. Minimum
Can I
working age
add?
means yes, Jahara, please.
Sir, minimum working age, like under the law of Pakistan government, minimum working age under 18 cannot work more than 42 hours a week and cannot work more than 7 hours a week. And also there's a law, minimum working age is under 12 cannot work. Is
Yeah,
that what
that
you were talking?
yes, this is I am talking about. Very good. Thank you very much, Jahara. So it means you cannot hire children. Simple as that. Because their first right is to get education rather than working somewhere. And they do not know what is good and bad for them. They can be exploited there at the workplace as well. They can be forced to work for a longer time period and a very minimum salary can be given to them because they are not aware of their rights. वो तो कोर्ट नहीं जाएंगे ना, उन्हें पता ही नहीं है. So that is why the government has set this minimum working age. But this will give an advantage to the business as well. How? If business follows it, so they can show in their commercials that we follow government laws and we do not hire children. So it can set a very good image in the market as well, as Dalal said as well. So in that way, you will be able to attract experienced and quality workers. Customers would like to buy from you because you have a very good image, resulting in higher sales and profit as well. Then we have
एक्सक्यूज मी सर.
unfair. Yeah, please.
सर जुनेद कह रहे हैं उसको ऐड कर लें, उसका फोन ऑफ हो गया था.
So Junaid, okay, Junaid needs to come again because I can't see Junaid. And why
जी
Junaid
सर मैं कहता हूँ उसको.
or why Junaid requires my permission? Come up with your school ID and you can enter. Simple.
सर मैं
Or
आ गया हूँ, एंटर हो गया हूँ सर, वो
okay,
फोन
yes,
ऑफ हो
sir.
गया था, मैं एंटर.
All right. So see, it's easy. You do not want to take my permission, but once I mark your attendance, the software will start marking your time as well. That when you come in and when you go out, and whether you when you go out, whether you come back again or not. So unless and until you give me a reason, so obviously I can't tell the management that that was a problem. I will simply say, or it will be considered that the student left the class early. So keep this thing in your mind as well. All right. Now we have unfair discrimination, the second uh, law regarding employment contracts, recruitment, and termination. Now, unfair discrimination We need to understand this as well. Aruj Mustafa, can you add to it? What is unfair discrimination? Although I did discuss that.
सर नहीं पता.
नहीं पता. Okay, doesn't matter. Danish Hussain? Danish?
जी सर,
Yes,
शायद
please.
सर किसी वर्कर को बिला वजह निकालना, तो इसे शायद कहते हैं
Okay,
डिस्क्रिमिनेशन।
all right. All right. Yeah, this is one part of unfair discrimination. Unfair discrimination means what you are doing, that you are favoring certain employees because they are your good friends. They might not be that much capable, but you are favoring them in terms of salary, in terms of working hours, okay, and you are not giving them much work. On the other side, there are very qualified workers, very experienced and efficient workers, and you are not treating them in the same fashion. You are giving them more work. You are maybe, and you are not favoring them at all in any way. You are not actually giving them holidays when they actually require them. They are in need of it, so they can't take their days off. So if you are doing it, we'll call it unfair discrimination. You are not promoting them. If an employee deserves to be at a higher rank, you do not promote that employee. You promote your own friend who is closer to you. Again, this is discrimination can happen in any way, but it is there at the workplace. It can be in the terms of
Sir,
salary.
can
Yeah, please.
sir, can unfair discrimination can also be like favoring someone over gender basis, on race basis, on religion basis, favoring
Absolutely.
one another on these basis. Would it
Yes,
also
Jahan.
be an unfair discrimination?
Why not? If you discriminate a person just because he or she is black, or he or she is male or female, again, this is part of unfair discrimination. I'll tell you, um, you might not, I know whether you have the experience or not, but if you see the job advertisement in newspapers as well, so you always see one line there. This is a very common line, and that is, we are an equal opportunity employer. Now, this means doesn't matter whether you are a male or a female, if you are capable, we'll hire you. This line says that. So it means that they clearly say we do not discriminate employees unfairly. So yes, Jahara, you are right as well. It can be on any
Sir,
basis.
also on some job advertisement, there is a clear one-liner that only females can apply or only males can apply.
Absolutely. This is sometimes fair discrimination. I'm talking about unfair discrimination. Fair discrimination is, for example, let me explain you. There is a kids school, and you require soft females there. So male members generally they are aggressive in nature as well, and they might not be able to deal smaller kids. And you know that even in city school, do you see any male teacher there teaching younger children? Have you observed it? No. Right, Jahara?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir,
Why?
yes.
The reason is because this is fair discrimination. It is legally allowed. Why? Because the demand of the job is such that you have to hire females over there as well. Similarly, for example, if you see on receptions, generally there are females. And why it is so, you know that? Because sometimes the customer they are very aggressive, and normally who actually makes lots of hue and cry? Male members. Okay, so because they are aggressive in nature, it doesn't mean that females are not aggressive in nature as well, but generally
सर पाकिस्तान के अलावा और कहीं पे तो ये ऐसा नहीं होता.
और कहीं because they know their rights. ये तो मैं पाकिस्तान की बात कर रहा हूँ. You are absolutely right. मैंने पाकिस्तान की एग्जांपल दे रहा था ना समझाने के लिए सिर्फ ये. So if females are there, so obviously because they are soft in nature, so maybe if some customer who is very aggressive, so may cool down because of the female. It can be of any reason, whatever you can think of. So maybe you can give that argument as well that the demand of the job is such that we only hire females. Okay, all right. But for example, if you require an accountant, you require an auditor, you require maybe an engineer, so you can't simply say that we only hire males, because females can work with the same efficiency over there as well. If you do it, that will be considered as unfair discrimination, unless and until you explain why you only favor to hire male or females. Okay, all right. Let's move on. So, unfair discrimination is not allowed. So, in that case, again, there could be a problem. Problem could be that you know that sometimes the work is of that nature that which requires physical strength. So, in that case, will it be a fair discrimination or unfair if you hire male members? Fatma Gondal?
fair.
Fair, fair
Okay.
discrimination.
Fair
It's fair
discrimination,
discrimination.
sir.
All right. All right. So you understand this. It means the business needs to consider that as well. Okay. Then we have, because we'll talk about impact on businesses later. As you can see in the flow chart as well, the impact on business, we'll cover them later. But still, I am talking about it so that you won't get confused in the later part. Okay. Then maximum working hours. Again, generally, you need to have maximum working hours, and it's there in employment contract as well. Do you know why there should be maximum working hours, Bisma Harun? Why there needs to be maximum working hours? What is the law about it?
सर मैक्सिमम काम हो सकता है
पहले explain करो. What does it mean when we say maximum working hours? मतलब क्या है? Yes, Bisma?
कि सर किस लिमिट तक वर्कफोर्स काम कर सकती है लाइक किस
All right,
टाइम
good.
लिमिट तक
All right, good. So for how many working hours employees can work? Because employees can be exploited. So obviously, sometimes you are in a country where there is huge unemployment, and workers they are bound to work because there is no other option available for employment. So generally, the contract is for 8 hours in a day. But after 8 hours, the boss can ask you, okay, you have to stay there for one more hour. Now, it's not a compulsion, but employee knows that maybe the boss can fire them later. But if there is a law regarding maximum working hours, so without the consent of the employee, you cannot ask the worker to work for more than 8 working hours. Because generally the working hours are 8. So not more than that. Because if you ask a worker to work for more than 8 working hours, then you have to give them overtime payment. Because now the working hours exceed 8 hours. So and those the overtime payment is normally greater than the payment of normal working hours. You get more. For example, if you are getting $1 for 1 hour, for example, so for overtime you might be getting $2.5 for 1 hour. So that is why. So again, that there is a protection for employees. So it will have an impact.
सर ये एम्प्लॉयज की हेल्थ के लिए नहीं लगाया जाता कि
Yes, why not? For that as well. That is why I'm telling you, employees should not be exploited. You know that as a human being, you cannot work more than 8 hours in a day because then your health will be deteriorated. It will have a negative impact on your health. Similarly, you cannot work for 8 hours continuously. Again, breaks are required. We'll talk about it. Okay, breaks are required so that you can have rest time as well. You are not machine. You are human being. So you require some time to take rest as well. Okay, all right. So maximum working hours there, but it means again, so what will happen? It will increase the cost of the business. Either you have to hire another worker. If worker refuses, worker says, I can't work. I have some other engagement there back at my home. So in that case, you have to hire another worker. And then you have to pay more to that worker as well. And overtime payment, I told you, it's higher than the payment of normal working hours. So it will increase the cost and reduce the amount of profit businesses earn. Then, okay, so we are done with what laws related with employment contracts, recruitment, and termination. Okay, then we have laws and employment practices, and we'll cover up till that. Now, employment. Now, listen, we are discussing laws and employment practices, right? Only. And under laws and employment practices, we covered what? We covered this one: employment contracts, recruitment, and termination, and their impact as well. Now, there are the laws as well. Again, related to what? Related to employment practices. One is minimum wage law. This is separate. And what is minimum wage law? What does it say, Kainat? Kainat, what is the minimum wage law? Kainat Jamal, are you there?
Sir, yes, sir. Sir, I don't know.
No. Okay. Kainat, so Mahnur Yazani. Mahnur, please.
सर एक वेज सेट हो जाती है कि इससे कम वो वर्कर्स को पे नहीं कर सकते.
Very good. Absolutely right. So it means minimum wage law means beyond, below it, you cannot hire a worker. So you have to give a certain wage. You can give wage higher than that, but not lower than that. Again, you know that workers can be exploited and they can be given lower salaries because there is no other option available for employment. So that is why the law is there, so that even if the worker is very poor and worker is not able to find jobs elsewhere, still they will be getting minimum wage so that they can meet their basic needs. In Pakistan, it is around about 20,000. Actually, it's not 20,000. It's 17,500 or 18,000. Not more than
Sir,
that.
14,000.
No, not
14,000
for
to 17,000.
now. Now they have raised it. Okay, all right. So it's there. So what will happen to the business if minimum wage law is there? Mukarram, what is the impact on business of that law?
I don't. पता नहीं sir. I don't know.
कैसे नहीं पता, इतना इजी है तो?
सर कॉस्ट बढ़ेगी.
Obviously, it's very easy. Earlier, you were, for example, giving 10,000 to the worker. Now there's a new wage law, minimum wage law, government has passed, and government says now you cannot hire a worker for less than 20,000. So there is a problem because now you have to give every worker at least 20,000 rupees. It will increase the cost of the business to a great extent, reducing the amount of profit business gets. All right. So then we have health and safety, and that was, I think, Talal talking about. You need to take care. There are laws that you need to take care of the workers as well, and health and safety includes lots of things. What is it? Let me show you that. Now, if you see health and safety, so the business needs to be conscious about it. That is, equip factories and offices with safety equipment. That if there are machines which are being run, they need to be safe. And for that, workers need to be trained. If workers are not trained and some injury happens to the worker, obviously the workers can claim heavy damages in the court against the company. And if there are machines which are very dangerous, there needs to be a clear caution or a statement there that please stay away from that machinery while passing. So it means safety equipment must, similarly, proper clothing must be there. For example, if you weld different items, आप welding करते हैं, so you need to have goggles there. Similarly, you need to have rubber shoes as well, gloves as well, so that you can protect from that electric shock. So it means that proper clothing should be there as well. So equipment includes that as well. So again, it will increase the cost of the business because you have to provide all protective measures to the workers. Similarly, provide adequate washing and toilet facilities as well. So you need to have separate rooms for that. For example, if in a factory employees deal in dangerous chemicals, right? Employees deal in dangerous chemicals, and for that, obviously, they need to take rest. They have to take their lunch as well, and they can put their hands in their eyes as well or on their face. So for that, they need to have those facilities there so that they will keep on washing their hands so that nothing harms the employees. Again, it increases the cost. Provide protection from dangerous machinery and material. I told you earlier. Give adequate breaks and maintain certain workplace temperatures. Workplace should not be too humid, too hot, because suffocation can come there as well. And some employees who have some breathing problem, they may have a serious trouble there as well. So you need to consider that as well. Again, it will increase your cost because you need to have ample space for for so many workers to work over there. There need to be proper windows for ventilation as well. So you need to maintain that temperature. That is why, similarly, do you know that wherever you see a computer lab, you always see computers over there, because if students are there, even teachers are there, so a lot of heat is generated from computers. So there need to be ACs there. Although you can, without ACs, computers can work fine. I'm telling you. So if somebody has the idea, no, it is a must. No, it is not. But it is for human health, because obviously they will be staying there in a lot of uh, environment where there is a lot of heat being produced by those machines. All right, now get back to the same diagram. All right, then we have trade union as well. So health and safety at work, when you provide it, it involves cost. Then we have trade union. Again, trade government passes laws that the employees have a right to have a trade union. For example, employees want to have a trade union. You know that what is okay? Do you know what is a trade union? Abdul Jabbar, can you answer? What is a trade union? Abdul Jabbar, Fazan Ali, what is a trade union? Any idea?
No sir, नहीं पता.
All right. So listen, because we'll talk about this uh, concept later in the coming chapters, but still you need to have an idea. Anybody who can explain that what is a trade union? Any volunteer before I explain
Sir,
that?
a trade union. Sir, a
Yeah, yeah.
trade union is a group which stands up for the rights of the employees.
Very good. Very good. Trade union is a body or an organization which consists of workers. And workers, they pay a regular amount annual fee to the trade union because it's an organization and there are lots of expenses. So all members of the trade union, obviously they are workers, they pay a certain amount on annual basis. So they protect the rights of the workers. So it is legally allowed that workers can have a trade union and they can be part of the trade union. So now employers cannot stop workers to be part of the trade union because it is their legal right. Because sometimes it happens that the workers are being exploited. One worker is not able to raise his or her voice. But if there are lots of workers or hundreds of workers, obviously they are going to influence business decision. So that is why it is a legal right of the workers to have a trade union. Now, how it is going to have an impact on the business? Ramin, if trade union is there because it is legally allowed for the employees, how it is going to have an impact on business, positive or negative? Ramin?
Sir, the employer, sir, the employers need to make sure that they are given on time.
Okay, or very good. It means so that they won't be exploited. Salary must be given on time at the end of the month. Okay, all right. Okay, fine. So, but what the impact on
Sir,
business?
sir,
Yes,
the trade union might fight for the employees for a higher wage or lesser working hours, which might increase the cost of the business.
very good. Absolutely right. They may demand higher wages for the workers, and the business has to increase their wages because now there are lots of workers behind it in the form of trade union. So it may increase the cost. Or now because reduced working hours there for the workers, so now they have to hire more workers to work there. For example, if you are running a shoemaking factory, Eid comes now, there is more demand for shoes, so you want your workers to work for more hours. But trade union says our workers won't work for more hours, or at least or instead reduce the working hours of our workers. So for that, now you have a pressure from the trade union side, and because it's a legal organization, so you have to hire more workers, and obviously it will increase your cost and time as well. So that's right. Trade union is, but there is, so it means there is a negative impact. There is a positive impact as well. Do you know what is the positive impact of trade union?
Sir, along with
Sir,
that, अगर
social image.
जो company
No,
है,
no, Talal, just a minute. Yes, yes, please keep on saying.
if it's following all the other laws, तो trade union can be a way for good image, जिससे बाकी जो outside workers हैं वो attract हो सकते हैं और मतलब we can get quality workers.
Okay, all right. So if trade union is there, but trade union has nothing to do with the business. Means trade union is run separately. Okay. Yes, a trade union is working over there, so it means workers would like to work in that organization. It's fine, but the main thing is it will be easier for the employer to negotiate. For example, you have thousands of workers, so it's very difficult to convince all the workers. It will take a lot of time. if you deal them individually. So it is better you talk to the trade union. There is a representative of the trade union, one person who is qualified enough, and you just convince that trade union representative. That is it. Now, to convince thousands of workers working there, it is the duty of the trade union. So it means that the owner gets relieved from the tension of convincing so many workers because it will take so much time. Secondly, employers may not be able to reach to the level of the workers where they can understand. For example, there are illiterate workers and they are not able to understand what the management is talking about. Or workers might feel that management always talks about whatever goes in their favor. वो सोच सकते हैं ना इस बारे में. So that is why once you convince the trade union, so now trade union will convince other workers and other workers will feel that okay, trade union is on our side. So whatever trade union is saying, it's fine. We'll agree on it. So it's easier to negotiate with the workers as well at the same time. And what will happen? You will have better relationship with employees there. So smooth working will take place. You will be able to meet the demand timely, better quality, and good healthy working environment as well at the same time. So there will be lower labor turnover as well because workers are happy because of that. So in that way, trade union helps owners or employers as well. I hope you got it, and inshallah tomorrow we'll continue in the next class from the same place.
Allah Hafiz, sir.
The same point. Khuda Hafiz, anyone who wants to discuss anything can stay there for a while.
Allah Hafiz, sir.
Khuda Hafiz.
सर मेरा एक क्वेश्चन है.
जी प्लीज.
सर ये ट्रेड यूनियंस आपने कहा है कि वो एम्प्लॉयज जो हैं, जो लेबर होगी वो थोड़े से पैसे ट्रेड यूनियन की तरफ कंट्रीब्यूट करेगी, तो सर उसको यानी वो पैसों का इस्तेमाल किधर आएगा? ट्रेड यूनियंस व्हाई वुड दे कंट्रीब्यूट मनी टुवर्ड्स, यानी कॉज के लिए पैसे क्यों वो इन्वेस्ट करेंगे?
Very good, Bilal. I always expect such questions from you. Actually, now what happens, because this is not the topic under discussion, trade union, because the topic will come in the coming chapters, but still because you have asked the question, so I'll answer it. Actually, what happens that if, for example, there is no agreement between the trade union and the employer, okay, and both are standing on their point that okay, whatever we are saying is right, so there is a disagreement. So now they need to take an action, and the biggest action trade union can take is the strike. They can stand outside the business organization, and they need a lot of money over there. They need to have placards. They need to have because they need to demonstrate to the outside world, to the government, media coverage. So for that, you need to have connections as well. So it means that if you are going to have such a huge rally, so obviously you may have to arrange for their food as well at the same time. Placards, posters, banners. So it means a lot of money will be required over there. And for example, are you getting my point?
Yes sir.
Is it okay?
जी सर ठीक है, समझ आ गया.
All right. Thank you very much.
अल्लाह हाफिज.
Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz, sir.
Hafiz.